Great. I want
Okay.
to say yes, thanks so much for taking time out on this Monday to meet with me. I am so excited to be interviewing you today. I am Julie Synan. I'm the Franchise Director of Development for Right at Home. And I'm looking forward to learning about you and your business today.
Okay, perfect.
So, Greg, let's go ahead and, just take a few minutes to introduce yourself. Tell me where you're operating and when you became an owner.
Okay, my wife and I, Crystal, bought the franchise in 2010, our office. We work out of the Oklahoma City Northwest Territory, so we have two territories. She began the operation, began our opening right after we purchased it, about 6 months to get approved from the state. And so she was running the franchise and our office flawlessly. Then I joined prior to a great time prior to COVID. So my my time was pretty limited. I'm a marketing and sales guy by training for the last 30 years, traveled all over the US and other continents in sales and marketing. So my job kind of ended. And so I joined in 2019, and then was in marketing and sales. And of course, COVID hit and none of that was happening. So I learned real fast. So I got involved with social media then. So yeah, it's been going great. We have probably 125 caregivers, about 100 clients right now. Everything is running along very smoothly. We are involved in it every day. We're in the office this morning. We're in the office every day. We have a great team finally, knock on wood.
Awesome. Yes. So,
So
talking about every day, walk me through a little bit of what your typical day is like.
Well, 9 o'clock in the morning, we meet with our marketer. We have a marketer this year, brand new. I was doing all of it. And so it got too overwhelming for me because we're heavily involved with the Parkinson's and the VA and Alzheimer's Association and lots of other networking groups. So we brought her in to start beating the street for other places that we weren't get to. So we have a 9 o'clock meeting with her, go over the week and look at my schedule that she's got me involved in because I look at that every day and then something pops up that I didn't know about. So she keeps me busy. So I do all of that. And then Crystal's involved with the administration, working with our care coordinators, working with our schedulers, working with our HR, working with our recruiters. So, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and she really runs that part all by herself, but she's got a great staff that helps her. So I'm in the office pretty much 2 days a week, and then that's it. I'm out the rest of the time. We're doing
Okay.
lunches, we're beating the streets, we're, playing bingo, having VA meetings, just doing those things that keeps our name out in the market.
It sounds like you're really enjoying it.
Well, it's a different from what I have been doing for the last 30 years. I was industrial sales, technical sales. So I met with engineers and met with owners of companies, and I was in the printed circuit board industry. So it is quite a shift from doing what I was doing. It's I like helping people. We like getting people help and making sure they can stay where they are, making sure they're healthy and warm and safe and dry and happy. So that's a really big plus for us.
I love that. It's so true. That's what it's all about, right?
Yes, it is.
What did Crystal do before you guys joined right at home?
Well, she was a school teacher. She taught journalism in middle school for about 10 years, and then after our third child was born, she decided, okay, I can't do all of this, so she took off for about 10 years and was a stay-at-home mom. And then she went back to teaching. They got rid of the journalism school, got rid of journalism classes. So her choice was to teach history or PE, and she chose PE. So she taught grade school PE and she loved it for 10 years. And then we decided to do this because my industry was dying. Circuit board industry was all going to Southeast Asia and other places. So traveling there a lot, it was getting really tiresome. So actually, one night after a conference call about 10:30 in the evening, I put in on my computer franchise opportunities, and Right at Home was one of those ones that jumped up, and we started talking with them.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's really neat. Love that you made up your mind about something you wanted to do and then you found us and
Yep,
everything
yep,
worked out well. When you
yep.
talk about like finding right at home and I hear, from folks I talk to That's exactly how they found us. Um, I think part of that is of the support we provide our franchisees. It kind of moves us the needle up on where we rank in the industry. When you think about that support structure that Right at Home is providing you, can you talk a little bit about what you would consider the most valuable pieces of that?
Well, I'll tell you that the first, I've worked with a lot of top rated not franchises, distributors. We had distributors all throughout the US and around the world. And there are different levels of distributors. Some are type A personality type distributors where you walk in and they greet you, and it's very professionally done. And some are just mom and pop type places you walk in and yeah, there's your chair. I'll be there in a minute. It's very,
Yep.
very, very different cultures for all of our distributors. So the day, Discovery Day, when we walked in right at home, it was one of those type A personalities where you walked in, they greeted you, they knew who you were, why you were there. And we sat with Brian and sat with Alan and had a great conversation. And they made you really feel like, okay, this is going to work. We're going to help you make it work. And here's what you need to do. So everything was pretty much laid out, and success rate was very, very high. And so that gave us a lot of confidence. We knew that the market was there. Obviously, the market is still growing. Baby boomers like me are hitting that market right now. So and the other part of it was, once you open the doors, there is a lot of information to keep you busy, keep you moving, keeping you growing, keeping you instructions on what to do day to day. So they don't leave you alone. And our coaches were great. They came out to see us. We made sales calls together. They really handheld us the whole way. And there were some scary times, obviously, because you leave your comfort zone of income and then you say, okay, we're going to do this and tighten the belt. That's why I joined later, because it was much easier to replace a school salary than it was mine. And so once we got going, and I knew my job, we thought we had about a 5 year window in my industry. Ended up to be 7, which is great. So I was able to, towards the end of my tenure at my other company, my other industry, to work both in and out of both companies, both with our company and with the other company. So I kind of knew what to do. But again, the support, going to home improvement, getting ideas, sitting in our tech sessions, all of those things just feed you with information and motivation. You're excited to get back and get back to work. So the support, we know what to do. We still have questions. Our performance group people and our coaches are still helping us every day to get things to get where we want to be. So you're never alone. You're never alone.
I love that. And that's so true. I love that it sounds like just a real success story. I love the way you finally, were able to get involved in the business full time. When you mentioned home improvement, for anyone who is watching this, who is prospective franchisee, home improvement is our annual conference. And that's a great meeting of the minds, right? So to speak.
Right.
It's so many wonderful things happen. I know there's a Caregiver of the Year award that is awarded at home improvement.
Yes.
When you think about just as a whole, your whole experience in being a right at home owner, can you share a story with me or a feel good moment that like really made an impact for you and Crystal?
Well, there's a lot of those stories. Every day we have those stories. We get cards and we get letters from people that are just so glad that we're helping their mom or their dad or their aunt, whoever it may be. But the one that impacts me the most, we had an opportunity. We have a program called Shared Care, which is where we go in independent living and we break down care into 15-minute increments. And we had the opportunity, we've been in one facility here for about 7 years. And I had seen this gentleman in this facility off and on, very, very energetic, very charismatic, and he was a Choctaw Indian. I didn't know at this time that I was just talking to him in the hallway. We would just stop and talk, but eventually he needed our help. He needed our help with his wife, Choctaw World War II veteran, and he was a tank commander in Battle of the Bulge. And he
How
became a very
interesting.
close, and he had no VA benefits whatsoever. So we were able to work with him and get his VA benefits, and he became not only a client, but his wife died about 2 years later. So he just passed away Thanksgiving morning of last year. So, but he became a really great friend of mine personally, because I would go into his room and he was a very energetic person. You go into his apartment and there's pictures of presidents and governors and actresses and actors. And I go, did you know these people? He goes, yeah. And, you know, he had stories about everybody. And his stories about World War II and driving a tank in Battle of the Bulge. I'm a big World War II history guy. And his
Mhm.
stories and the things that he did, I would leave there sometimes driving home in the evening. Haven't done much with my life because he really had a great life. He did so much and he had his own business. He was not a chief in the Choctaw, but he was an elder in the Choctaw Nation. So as we got to take care of him, after his wife died, we started running around together. I would take him to the Choctaw Nation, take him to the Indian Nation Clinic, and so we kind of got to talking to people, and the word got out that we were friends, and people started, "Hey, can you do this? Can you come to this? Can you do this parade? Can you come over here to this opening with us?" And we did several museum openings, and several groundbreaking museums for the Guard. We did a lot of things together. Then he decided he was contacted about going back for the 80th anniversary of Battle of the Bulge in Bastogne or in Belgium.
Right.
So our caregiver got to go back with him for 10 days, and he was in the parade. He visited a lot of the sites where he was in battle and got to see a bunch of the town. It wasn't ruined now, of course, but then it was all torn up. So he became just like an ambassador for us, and his story is so cool. In fact, his we're going to his memorial service as soon as we get back from home improvement on the 25th.
What
So
a
that
beautiful tribute to a
and
life
yeah,
well lived.
he was very charismatic, and I to give this, he had all kinds of stuff written down because our caregiver was with him. He got 42 hours of care from the VA. So we were with him constantly. And when our caregiver wouldn't couldn't go or if she was on vacation, I would go over there and sit with him. And we would talk, watch sports, big Thunder fan. In fact, on November 11th, Veterans Day of last year, he got to go down to the Thunder to one of their games and they highlighted him and did a video of. I was supposed to go that day with him. He invited me to go, but my daughter had my third grandson, so I said I can't go. I got to go. He goes, yeah, I understand. Go be with your grandson. But he just did everything, and he never said no to anything. He was
Right.
so.
This whole story is playing out like a beautiful movie in my mind as
You
you
know
tell
what?
it.
You're right. People have
Yes.
there was a couple of people wanted the rights to him, and he said no, I don't. He denied. He goes, I don't need that. I don't
Yeah.
need that. But his story is so cool, and he's still with us every day. We got big pictures of him in our office. We have a. They called him Chalk. That was his name because he was a Choctaw Indian. So I got a chalk wall in our office dedicated to him. So
That's
he's just
thank
so
you for
that's one of it.
sharing that
But
beautiful story.
there's lots of stories like that. We meet so many wonderful people along the way, and and their lives, the things that they've done, the place that they've been, and the wars and the battles that they fought, and no, they didn't complain. They just came home and went back to work and started life.
I
So
love that.
it's been a those have been great journeys
Hey,
for
thank you.
sure.
That is inspirational. I'm inspired. I won't stop thinking about chalk for a while now. That's for
Well,
sure.
if you go to
You
our
know,
website, he's all over it because our online marketing specialist, Derek, he's like, we got to put this guy everywhere. And he
yeah.
he came here and did a 20-minute presentation for us in his headband, his war bonnet.
You
So
just never know, right? You never
no,
know
you
those
don't.
connections you're going to make. Well, one more question for you. And
Okay,
I know
okay.
you're a busy man and you have a lot going on. And again, so appreciate you taking the time to do this. If there was one piece of advice that you could give someone who's currently looking at business ownership with right at home, what would that be?
Do it. It is rewarding. It's hard work. But if you're like me and you were in a sales marketing position and you were working, if you're a good salesman, a good customer service salesman, you're working 24/7 anyway. So you might as well work for yourself. And the support is there, the name is there, and the innovation moving forward with new technology, AI, that's helping taking care of people. We're all looking into that, and corporate is helping us.
That's very well said. And thank you for sharing that. I hope that you have a wonderful trip to home improvement this year
We're
and
going.
an
Yep.
excellent safe travels and a wonderful memorial to Chalk. And again, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. Look forward to hearing more good things out of your office.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.